setting on fast in the melon. If I ever lose, setting on bigger and better. Hitting roller coaster come bigger, bolder, faster. Boom, going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm just waiting for my flight. Sorry, I couldn't be there physically. I'm currently here in New York. Uh, okay, my presentation today is a bit packed with a lot of heavy concepts such as open finance, decentralized finance, and the metaverse. So in the 15 minutes I have, we'll try to tie them all up together. So the world where we are right now comes from a situation where the assumption is individuals work for their own selfish interest. And because of that assumption, in the finance industry, a lot of checks and balances have been created. A lot of them are related to regulators. That's why you have banking regulators and you have banks and financial institutions with various risk management processes and cross-checking between banks when they do transactions. A lot of the reason for that is because there's latency in the transaction and there's often sometimes less transparency in how transactions are done. So that's how we came about from a status where everybody don't trust each other. We had to create layers and layers of systems so that trust can be ensured. But then, in the 70s and the 80s, a famous economist, Eleanor Ostrom, imagined another world. And she called this the collaborative commons. Her thesis was that people are not really selfish. Given the right ecosystem and the right environment, people will actually preserve the common resources, whether it's fisheries, whether it's forestry, whether it's land, while pursuing their own benefit. So if you transpose that to banking, it is like entrusting economic resources to people that are also pursuing simultaneously their selfish interest. Unfortunately, that didn't work up until maybe in the past previous years because of two technology upheavals that we waited for. One of the key technologies that allowed the possibility of collaborative commons to, to exist would be the APIs. And my next slides actually discuss about the APIs. APIs solves the issue of transparency and immediate information among parties. In fact, Union Bank has done a lot of work making sure that it exposes a lot of its banking APIs to partners and customers, creating a system where you don't have to wait a long time for a transaction to be fulfilled or a transaction to be uh, uh, figured out. So delay often is uh, the thing that allows for trust to be eroded. When things are real time, trust increases. And then blockchain happened. Blockchain is a technology that allows for immutable ledgers, allows for self-governing rules that would be embedded in transactions. It also allows for security and transparency of transaction. So with these two technologies of blockchain and APIs, we've moved from the traditional banking that we have right now to open banking. Open banking basically allows you now to have instantaneous interaction among players in the banking industry. We basically use this now. InstaPay and PesoNet goes from banks to wallets to other financial institutions. We're actually in an open banking state. Open banking allows you for an employee in the future to basically choose the bank account that he wants his payroll to be transferred to compared to where it is right now, where an employee has no choice but to go with the bank that the employer chooses for the employee. In an open banking scenario, a lot of the banking clients can now choose the banks that they want their accounts to be. Expanding open banking because of open APIs that are already available in the marketplace we go into open finance, where not only banks and wallets can interact with one another, they can also interact with insurance companies. The previous slide basically shows open finance, and open finance allows you for cash flow driven loans, allows you to translate your bank accounts into the actual premium that you need to pay for insurance companies. So from open banking to open finance, if you overlay the API technology that we already have in the banking industry with the capabilities that blockchain provide, we can now move to decentralized finance. Decentralized finance is what Eleanor Ostrom has envisioned as the collaborative common in the financial industry. Decentralized finance is a movement to power to move the power of centralized institutions away from individuals, institutions towards individuals. Example of the things that we've done in the area of DeFi would be the creation of a stable coin. Stable coin that can be used in the ecosystem to fulfill and execute transactions. A stable coin that can be governed in terms of value and in terms of modality by the members of the ecosystem. In Union Bank, we've actually done several experiments on DeFi. Next slide shows you some of the things that we've done. We've actually implemented the first virtual currency ATM. We've been able to standardize the use of blockchain for bond issuance and the creation of a platform that allows several rural banks to govern the transfer of stable coins among themselves. In fact, that platform is called I2I, and the next video basically shows you what a DeFi or an emerging DeFi use case can be.
A mother in Cantilan, Surigao would have to travel 3 hours to get to the nearest commercial bank just to receive funds from her husband in a factory in Manila. A very inefficient and costly way to do something basic in today's standards. This is a common problem to a staggering 65% of Filipinos. That's 70 million Filipinos who are either unbanked or underbanked. The rural banks, despite their smaller sizes individually, are tasked to be the country's champion for inclusion and customer reach because of their strategic location being in the far-flung areas where big banks will not go. Without proper infrastructure and technology, this mandate is impossible. The rural banks themselves are financially excluded because they have no access to the country's clearing system and to an efficient domestic interbank funds transfer facility. I2I is a central bank-approved, blockchain-based platform that has enabled financial institutions to have access to an efficient, secure, highly reliable infrastructure for domestic payments in the country. I2I is powered by PHX, the country's first bank-backed, BSP-approved stablecoin. I2I allows financial institutions seamless access to the country's larger banking network through a cloud-based portal with banking services that reach farther and faster. That mother in Cantilan no longer needs to travel 3 hours to receive her husband's funds from what used to take time and costs more than necessary to almost instant and less costly, adding important capabilities such as core banking, agency banking, fraud prevention, and identity and KYC solution, as well as cross-border payment facility. Proudly, we've also expanded the platform's reach by onboarding other non-bank financial institutions in the country, such as cooperatives and other money transfer operators. I2I.
So the platform I2I was launched by UBX and Union Bank way back in 2018. And it had all the characteristics of a collaborative common execution, which allows for participating banks to monitor themselves and to be able to adjudicate issues among themselves. Right now, that framework is still to be implemented by next year, where we move the centralized control of Union Bank to the rural banks that have participated in the network. Currently, there's around 170 individual rural banks and cooperatives that are connected to I2I. And the vision is for them to eventually be able to administer the network among themselves. So from open banking to open finance, we evolved to decentralized finance. 10, 15 years down the road, and things go by very, very fast with the evolution of faster broadband connection, 3D and spatial web. We feel that things are going to move into the metaverse. And if you look at the DeFi right now, it's actually a precursor to a world where the economic constructs in the digital realm uh, are managed, and that's going to be banking in the metaverse. In Union Bank again, we started experimenting on new ways of banking where we take DeFi to another level and put it in a totally virtualized world that's connected to the physical world. We created an experiment called the sandbox. And, instead of me talking about the sandbox, I just show you some of the things that we've been doing on the sandbox. The next video basically shows you the neat stuff that our team has done in Union Bank. Okay, so from open finance to decentralized finance to banking in the metaverse. That's all the time we have, and I hope you had fun going through the. Thank you very much.
Philippine Blockchain Week. See you next year.